Another place that we can load media into our TriCaster are in what are called buffers. Now, at first glance, buffers might seem very much like media players, but I want to show you where you'll find these in the interface and explain some of the differences between using a media player versus using a buffer. So the buffers can be found on your TriCaster in the lower area on the right side. You'll see next to DDR2 and Graphics 2 in my system is a tab called Buffers. And when I select it, you'll see the buffer slots appear. All TriCaster systems will have 15 buffer slots, although these buffers are broken into two categories. So you'll see at the top it says animation and HTML, and below that it says stills and titles. So the number you have of one kind versus the other might vary, but you'll always have 15 total to choose from. Now, the big difference between buffers and a media player is that media players are dynamic. You can load multiple clips into them and switch between them. So if you need something where you're only going to be using footage maybe on a more temporary basis, then media players are probably the better choice. Just as an example, I've got a graphics player loaded over here, and you can see that if we look at graphics in preview, whatever clip I select is what will be shown on the output, and I can go between them very easily. Buffers, on the other hand, when you load something into them, that piece of material is going to stay in the buffer till you physically swap it out with something else. So it's not as dynamic, but this is really good for things that you're going to use for extended periods of time. For example, maybe you want to put a logo or a bug on the screen, or there's a title you're going to refer to quite often, or maybe you're going to have a background that you're going to use for something. These are things that you might use for extended periods of time. So loading them in a buffer makes better sense because that is exactly what these are designed for, and it leaves your media players open for that dynamic content that you might want to work with in those players. So in the upcoming videos, let's look at each of the different kind of buffers and how we can use them.